The last question is kind of a twofer, by which I mean it's actually aimed at Debbie and me. And so here we go. Dinesh and Debbie, we love how you interact on the podcast. I recently discovered your work and was curious about your personal life. How long have you and Debbie been married? How many children do you have, and what are their ages, and are they as conservative as the two of you? You want to start or me?
You start. They want to know how long we've been married. And actually, tomorrow is our wedding anniversary.
Our 6th-year anniversary. Years. And so we're doing a little bit of a getaway. We don't get too many getaways these days, partly because we're so swamped with not just the podcast, but the film.
Mm-hmm. So you should tell everybody Monday we will not be having a podcast because we will be on our getaway.
Yeah, so we come back Monday and we'll be resumed normal on Tuesday. So no podcast on Monday. So yeah, Debbie and I, I guess we've known each other 8 years and been married 6. And we have 3 children between us. I have one, Danielle, who's been on the podcast. Debbie has 2, Justin, who works in an architectural firm, and Juliana, who is in her senior year in college.
Mm-hmm. And so they want to know if they're as conservative as the two of us. So you speak for Danielle.
Interestingly, I think we kind of have with Danielle and Juliana, we have the extremes. So I'll talk about Danielle, who is, Danielle wasn't conservative, except in the sense of being very serious about her faith when she went to college. And in fact, even when she was at Dartmouth, she wasn't very active with the Dartmouth Review. I think it's only toward the end of her college years that she saw the kind of intolerance of the left. And in fact, she was in a sorority. They were trying to throw her out because she had said one nice thing about Trump. And so she became really indignant. And now she has become, would you say, to the right of me, probably?
Yeah, I would think so, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very, very, very conservative. And then my son, Justin, who is also Danielle's age, they're a month apart, 2 months apart. Mm-hmm. So he will be 27 this coming in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. He's very conservative, though he's not political in the sense, like he's not out there, like Danielle, in the spotlight. But he's very, very conservative.
Well, I also like his conservatism is almost, you can say, in his bones, because even sometimes when we'll offer to help him to do something, he's like, no, I don't need it. I don't want it. He's got this kind of fiercely independent streak, which, to be honest, you had when you were younger. Mm-hmm. And
he's a lot like me in that sense, for sure. And
then Juliana.
And Juliana, my youngest at A&M, I have to say she's probably been indoctrinated.
Justin calls her a communist, but I think that's an exaggeration. She's not a But this just reflects that for Justin, once you get off the reservation, there's no stopping point.
Yes.
But I think with Juliana, I don't even think that she is that she has reflected upon it and adopted a left-wing ideology. I think we both know that's not the case.
Right. Well, I actually don't know that that's the case. I mean, she does listen to TikTok, and she gets a lot of her news that way.
Well, what does that tell you? I mean, that tells me that she is in her canoe, and we have a culture that is pulling you to the left, and if you want to keep your canoe in the middle of the stream.
And it's so funny because I so want her to meet a young man, conservative, Christian at A&M. So any of you looking for a girlfriend,
but honey, you have to warn them right up front that she has major veto power over these things, and her taste is a little bit more toward
the
bohemian. I was just going to say.
No, we don't know what her taste is, but I do know that she probably does not want to date someone like that, someone that I think is good for her. But I guess
not only that, I think she thinks that if someone's explicitly conservative, it's probably going to give her the reputation of being kind of, quote, with a right-winger.
Yeah,
and
I think she's...
and it's so interesting because Texas A&M for a long time had the reputation of being one of the most conservative state schools in the country.
It
probably still is in terms of the student body.
Yeah, I think so.
But not the professors.
There are a lot of, right. And I think the professors, I think that's, now I don't know how much she listens to professors because she's not, she doesn't really take, a lot of political science or history courses per se. So I don't know what the indoctrination, I don't know if it's other kids kind of influencing her or professors or what, I don't know. But I'm hoping this is just age related. She is 21, she'll be 22 next month. And I don't know if it's also just not having a job and having her parents still taking care of her. I don't know, to be honest, but it would be really nice if all our children were as conservative as we are.
Well, coming back to, our 6 years of marriage, and I think our life is unusual in that we are kind of joined at the hip 24/7, right?
Yes, we are.
With the exception of a few lectures that I've given in the age of COVID when the germaphobe was like, I think you better go.
You go yourself.
But for a long time, you pretty much travel with me everywhere. And then, of course, we work together. Debbie produces the podcast. Pretty much even in my writing, I'll dash off a chapter. I'm like, I hand you and then we do the movies together, and you're in the movies and active in all aspects of the movies. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun. We have in that sense a relationship that is not traditional in the sense that we're not sort of like, I'm not a cardiologist married to someone who's like a homemaker, but rather we both...
Are you saying I'm not a homemaker? Is that what I hear?
No, you're actually a very good homemaker.
I've started becoming one. I really never was one. And now I've been cooking a little more. And
well, you don't like going to restaurants in this environment.
I gotta admit, I really, once they said, that COVID is spread at restaurants, I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going.
But as a result, we actually eat a lot more at home these days.
We do, but I think it's also healthier for us, and we are getting up in age.
What?
And so we need to be careful. We need to make sure that our sugar is not elevated, although,
Well, we're a little health conscious, as I think people, generally need to be. But no, we're really excited about completing 6 years with hopefully many, many more to go.
Yeah.
And we have really discovered, I think, a real new happiness in our marriage. And we are... I think more in love than we were even 6 years ago.
I love you, honey.
I love you too.